This is Colorado and Southern number 638, and it's on static display in Trinidad, Colorado. And I see on the front of it is built by the American Locomotive Company, ALCO, in 1906. What's interesting is I actually never heard of the Colorado and Southern Railroad. I know that the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad and the Santa Fe Railroad go through this area, so maybe there were some sort of subsidies of that railroad. But looking down, you can see that it's a consolidation type locomotive, so 280. So it would have been commonly used for like freight service. And I believe the display sign said this type of locomotive was actually used for hauling coal into and out of Trinidad. So looking down the side of it, and this is the right hand side of it, you can see a look at the right hand wheels and the pistons and the driving rods. Imagine that's the valve gear right there. So that would basically be what controls the timing of the pistons, and therefore controls like how fast the engine goes or what direction it goes and so forth. And back there, those are the air tanks, so they'd be used by the braking system. And there's a view into the cab of the locomotive. And here you can see into the cab, so you can see that the boiler actually extends pretty deeply into the cab, so I could imagine it might have been really cramped up there. Looking at the top of the locomotive, you can see the whistle, so that would be the gold thing in the front, and the thing behind it is the dynamo, so the thing that generates electricity for the headlight of the locomotive. And between them, I believe that that's some type of safety release valve. So if the pressure of the boiler gets too high, that would be used to blow off excess steam. And going to the front, you can see the steam dome and the sand dome. So I believe the one in the back is the steam dome and the one in the front is the sand dome. And those pipes coming off of it would be pipes that take the sand down to the wheels, where it'd be used to help the locomotive with traction. And there's the bell and the stack. And in the front, you can see the back of the train's headlight. I also noticed this box mounted behind the pistons, and it looks like it has some type of rod coming off of it. It's actually connected to the driving rods. I'm not completely sure what this is, but from the computer games I've played, I would guess that this is some sort of mechanical lubricator. Although it's based on computer games, so I have no idea how accurate this is. In the back there, you can see all of the springs. They're part of the locomotive suspension. They're actually similar to the springs you have on a car. I know this because I actually just changed a tire a couple of days ago, and my car had a much smaller version of the exact same type of springs on it. And here's I guess that would be the control gear or the timing gear, so what times the piston. Not completely certain how this works. I've seen diagrams of some certain types of them, so Walschaerts type, but this doesn't quite look like Walschaerts, so I have no idea what's going on there. I noticed on the tender there's actually a logo for the Burlington Railroad. So the Burlington Railroad was one of the Granger railroads which serviced the Midwest. So maybe this was somehow a connecting route between the Burlington Railroad and either the Denver and Rio Grande or the Santa Fe railroads. And on top you can see the city of Trinidad, which is where we're located. And you can see some of the old school passenger cars. I actually really like the color they painted them. I'm not really sure if that's the original color they would have used when they're on surface, but the blue and green with the white top actually looks really nice. And towards the end there you can see a caboose, which I'm going to take a look at in a second. And here's the caboose, so it also says Burlington Road on it, so it's caboose number 10507. And you can see it's actually located outside of a Safeway, so I believe Safeway is some type of supermarket or store or something like that. So going back to the engine, I actually really like the paint scheme. So the silver smoke box and then the black boiler with the red roof on the cab. So looking at the machinery, I'm not completely certain, but if I had to guess, I'd guess that this was an air compressor for the brakes. So here's another look into the cab of the locomotive, and you can actually see the sight glass that would have been used to monitor the water level on the boiler. And below it there's all the control stands which the engineer would have used. I believe I see a brake lever. I'm not completely certain what any of the other controls are. And looking into the cab, you can see into the windows of the cab, you can see the boiler, the back end of the boiler. And taking a look below the engine, you can actually see into what would have been the firebox, so those grates back there.